A swim cap is great for keeping your hair out of your face while you swim. It can reduce drag, can even keep you warm when you're swimming in colder water.
But can a swim cap make you go faster? And how do you even put one on?
So stick around until the very end because I'm going to show you how to put an entire body like we killed someone. How to put an entire swimmer inside of a cap. Now I'm going to have Coach Kaylee show you how to put on a swim cap, and that starts with what you do with your hair.
I always take a hairband, put it into a nice loose low ponytail at the back of my head. I put it into a little bun. You just gotta twist it around. Doesn't need to be perfect or anything like that. It's just gonna be shoved inside your cap. And then there are many ways to put on a cap, actually. If you have a friend, you can just have them hold it and they can flip it for you. Always important to tuck in those stray hairs and then get it situated in the back. Make sure you're good to go. You don't really want your head to be feeling like it's gonna explode in that cap. I like to have it looser. Some people braid their hair back. Some people put that bun higher in their hair. You can even just do a ponytail and then just tuck the hairs into your cap. I like my hair in a bun lower just because when I put my head in line with my spine, it sits really nicely in front of the water. Again, it's up to you how you want to put your hair in your cap. So I've got some bangs still hanging out. You can just grab them, shove them back in. Pretty simple.
So do you have hair between your ear and the cap?
I might. I think I do right here. Yeah.
And then is that, you don't put the, does it matter?
It doesn't.
Hair behind the cap?
Unless it bothers you. If you want to shove it up more, that's fine. It doesn't really bother me that much. As long as I don't have hair in my face, that's my ultimate goal. If you don't have someone there to put your cap on, that's okay. You can still do it yourself. After you put your hair back, wherever and however you want to do that, I like to grab my cap, put in 2 hands into the cap, 1 on each side. That line down the middle will help you figure out where that's supposed to go. I put it on my forehead and kind of use that to help me put it over my head and snap. There are other ways that people end up putting it on their caps. This is the way that works for me. If people have a lot of hair, I recommend doing braids or tying your hair down a little bit tighter to your head. There are also larger caps for different kinds of hairstyles as well. A lot of facilities will recommend that you wear a cap, especially if you're swimming laps. First of all, it's a great barrier against the water. Your hair will still get wet,
but it's not going to get as damaged by the chemicals, and even protecting it from the sunlight. If you're in the sun for a long time, the sun can actually change the color of your hair. So if you're not interested in that, then wearing a cap can help you keep your hair on point. Let's talk about the different types of caps, and they actually come in 2 main materials. You have a latex swim cap and a silicone swim cap. Now, typically, the latex cap is going to be a little bit thinner. The silicone cap is actually going to have a little bit more thickness to it. If you are going to try and put a full human being inside of the cap, definitely recommend a silicone, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. So if you look at these 2 different caps, you can immediately see the shape is a little bit different between the latex and the silicone. If you look here, it can kind of like slice right through, but this is a seamless cap, and what it does is it actually creates more of a curvature at the top, and you get that really only with a silicone cap. You have different shapes of cap as well. So right here, I have the original MySwimPro cap. This is a dome cap, and if you notice right here, it's kind of like a freestanding bubble. I have right now, I'm just holding it with my 1 finger on the inside. You can see the shape of it. It's sort of matching the shape of your head, and the idea there is to reduce the amount of resistance that you have through the water. Because when you're moving through the water, the thing that breaks the surface first is your head. So there's the most resistance at that point. So if you can take away some of those wrinkles that you're going to get with a latex cap, and that's going to create a lot less drag, which is going to make you feel that much faster in the water. If you're on the ladies' side or you have longer hair, even for the guys, there are caps that can actually fit more hair in them. And you can see the cap is almost twice the size of one of the caps that I have in my hand. Another consideration is the color of cap. Now right here, I have a bunch of blue and white caps, but if you're going in the open water, you want to wear a cap that really stands out. So blue and white might not be the best because if there's waves and chop, the white cap is actually going to blend into the water and you're not going to get good visibility. So oftentimes in a triathlon or an open water race, you're going to see swimmers wearing a red or a pink or a purple, lime yellow. These colors are really vibrant and there's a lot of contrast. You're going to stand out that much easier. So if you're trying to spot someone, or even for other watercraft, a boat doesn't run into you. So right now I have my goggles underneath the cap. but you can show maybe you can put them on over the cap. What do you think?
I usually put my goggles on over my cap. It's a lot more comfortable for me. And that way, if my goggles do get messed up or I have to adjust them during practice, I can do so pretty easily. People usually wear their cap over their goggles if you're doing some races. And some people, when they're swimming longer races, they'll actually double cap. So they'll go cap, goggles, and then another cap over top that.
We're gonna cap her up with the dome. We just broke it. All right, this is a good teaching moment. So what just happened here is we tore the cap in real time. Guys, you can't make this up. And so this will happen occasionally. There are two reasons why this happens. Number one, the cap could actually be old and it's dried out. This cap hasn't touched a human head in many years. It hasn't been in the water. So I'm actually not that surprised that this cap tore. Another reason that a cap is going to rip, especially in the way that we were doing it, if you just pull it too far. If it's brand new, it hasn't been stretched, and if you try and stretch it really, really big, you're more likely to rip it. So let's go ahead and try it again. This is a latex cap, and we're gonna try this. Hopefully we don't rip it. Let's see. Yeah, we didn't rip it. Good. So now she's double capped. We go cap, goggles, swim cap. Yep. Kaylee, have you ever seen people swimming and in the middle of the race, the cap falls off?
That's happened so many times to me, and that's actually why I double cap.
So that's another reason to have two caps. But from a technique perspective, you can actually lower the likelihood that your cap is gonna fall off by just working on your head position. So if your head is high, you're putting more resistance on the front of your head and it's pushing up on the cap every single time to create any forward movement. Over time, the cap is just gonna gradually slide up. So make sure you're lowering your head position so that way you're not only swimming faster, but you keep your swim cap on your head and it's not gonna fall off. Another reason that the swim cap can fall off is any type of product that you're using in your hair. So if you have a lot of conditioner and maybe you didn't fully rinse, your hair is very soft, or if you have a lot of sunscreen on your forehead, all these different things can actually make the cap a little bit looser on your head, and it's gonna increase the likelihood of the swim cap falling off. Now let's say you don't have any hair. Do you wear a swim cap? Well, if you wanna have the benefits of reduced sun exposure and keep your scalp away from the water and the chlorine, then you could still wear a swim cap. It really comes down to personal preference. Now, I have found a lot of swimmers who don't have hair, if they have goggles without a swim cap, the goggles are gonna fall off that much faster. Figure out what works for you and make it happen.
And as promised, here's how to put a swimmer in a swim cap. You might need to grab a few friends to help make it big enough to fit a person. Have each person grab a side and start dunking the cap to make it expand. Once it's big enough, have your swimmer jump in, then scoop them up. And there you have it.
I hope you learned something from this video, and I hope you can figure out what works for you for wearing a swim cap. If you enjoyed it, check out our swim cap on Amazon. You can purchase this specific cap so you can match me.